And here comes Rich Lopez on hole number 1. And we are playing at the Steve Werner Memorial Disc Golf Course here at Crane Creek Regional Park in Rohnert Park, California. It is a 18-hole golf course, pretty wide open for the most part, but there's a couple holes where you're going to find some trees and tricky pin locations. Looks like Rich here is going to be using a Opto Spark. And the Opto Spark, pretty nice disc. He's going to throw a hyzer shot right here. You can see it off to the left a little bit. I believe this is pin position C. And that is a pretty good looking shot. And that's going to be inside the circle, probably about 27 feet. Here comes Dave. And Dave is going to be using, he's got an orange disc. I'm not sure if it's a Culverin or an Outlaw, but he uses it a couple times here in the beginning of the front nine. And that needs to hang on. And it looks like it's gonna skip a little bit. Both of those discs didn't skip a whole lot, but both are inside the circle. And I believe, there's the orange one, I believe Rich is away. So he's about 27 feet, a little bit of downhill, not too much wind coming at him. But Rich is a pretty good putter and one player. And he nails it. Oh, that was pretty. And he throws up a hand. I think this is the first time he's ever been on film. He was psyched. I think he does a dance on the next hole. I'm not sure. Here comes Dave, marking his disc. It was a beautiful day. We actually did this on Wednesday. These were the only two guys that showed up. I think the other guys were licking their wounds after Stafford Pro-Am, which was the weekend before this, which was an amazing event put on by Dave Lender of Marin Disc Sports. Go and check his website out. And Dave with a great birdie too. So after one, both players in the red numbers. Here's hole 2. Here's Rich. And this is in the normal position. I don't believe it is as long as it could be, but it's still a big pull. And he used a pink Outlaw. That's a second run Outlaw. 169, I believe. And there's that orange disc again. I believe this is Dave's Outlaw. This is a Pinnacle Outlaw. It's pretty beat in. So this is his go-to driver for the most part. And that's a nice rip. Both players, I don't believe, they found themselves too far away. Here's Rich for a birdie 2. Oh, just high. Looked like the wind kind of caught it and floated on him. That's a McPro putter, by the way, just off the number. And that's 2 in a row that Dave got Rich on the drives. And that just missed a little floaty. Both of those. So that's the new McPro putter, and Rich plays with the older McPro putter. And that's a tap in 3. Rich sporting an Octothorpe. Pretty nice bags. And Dave sporting a Ranger. And this is for par to keep pace. And smooth as silk. So a good par for both players. And they're both 1 under par. And here we are. We're headed into hole 3. Doesn't play too long. This is like a spike hyzer, maybe a mid-range. Rich is going to go to a spark again, Opto Spark. He's going to try to throw a spike hyzer. Or a slight hyzer. One thing with this hole, if you come in at too much of a hyzer or a spike hyzer angle, it is going to skip and it could go down the hill. There is a hill on the left side. And that looks pretty good. Oh, and he did get a skip. He did get a skip, but I think he might still be in the circle. And here comes Dave. Dave is going to be using, I believe, a Buzz. This is his American flag Buzz. He really likes this disc. This is a go-to for him right here. And the shot really is it's a mid-range shot, or maybe even a T-bird if you want to, or a Thunderbird. But I think the best play is a mid-range, maybe a Rock or a Buzz. or something that you're comfortable with. Oh, and that's coming in super nice. Again, that's 3 in a row that Dave has got better drives than Rich. And here's Rich for a birdie 2. You can see he skipped a little bit. Oh, and that looked like it went off the front of the basket, but that was low. And he throws another one. We're playing a casual round, so he's not going to get stroked for the extra throw. But here's Dave. You can see again inside the circle, about 20 for the birdie 2. And he's on fire. That's another birdie, so that's 2 out of the first 3 holes, and he takes the lead over Rich, and Rich needs this to maintain. And he's got it. So Dave 2 under after 3, Rich is 1 under, and Dave is taking the box. So hole 4 plays pretty far, depending on where it's located. Right now it's located up on the hill. It can be located on the flat part, or it can even be on the other side of the hill. So this is the second long position. But it's a pull. It's not a short shot. It's a pretty decent hole. And one thing you got to watch out for, lots of roll. So if you get a bad kick or even on an upshot, you can be rolling down the hill to 5's tee box. And I don't know what Rich is doing. I think he thinks he's Michael Jackson. But he's currently down. Dave is beating him. So maybe hold off on the dancing part yet. Maybe till the end. And that is, and if you saw Dave, that was his Orange Outlaw. That was a Thunderbird for Rich. And you can see, here's that hill I was talking about. If you get a roll, you're going to roll all the way down to the creek. And who knows where you're going to end up. So both players finding it difficult. And that's a beautiful layup. Yeah, that's about a 3/4 run uphill. And Dave's going to get a par. That's a tap. And that was conceded. And here's Rich. He actually went past the hole with a Thunderbird. Rich has a pretty big arm, so he can reach all of these tee pads. Oh no! Just off the basket. And he almost had it. That was a great look at it. Funky stance, but he gave it a run, and both of these putts are going to be conceded. Rich is going to get a par. And he's going to concede that putt to Dave. So Dave still has the box, still leads at 2 under par. And you can see the basket's going to be on my left. It's going to be by the bridge. And this is a shorter pin position than normally is. Normally it's more to the right, up on the hill, or even by the tree. And I don't know what Rich was doing there. He actually went and skipped. It looked like it skipped under the bridge. So he's going to have a shot over the bridge. I actually missed Dave's shot. He kind of faded out early. Looked like he let go of it a little bit quick. So he's going to try to lay up here to save par. I don't know what he's looking at, but this is a tough shot. You got creek and things in the way. And he parks it. Oh yeah, that's another really good look. So Rich is going to have a look here to try to tie things back up at 2 under par as Dave puts it within about 2 feet. So you can see so Rich's shot skipped under the bridge, and this is for a birdie 2. And this is close to about 25, 26. And he cans it. That's a good putt. So we're all tied up at 2 under par. Heading into hole 6. Hole 6 is kind of a tricky. Normally this is the normal position. Again, I don't know what happened with the drives. Both players kind of hooked it out. Rich went way deep. This is for a 2 and just over the top. That was a good look. Give it a run. Here's Dave. Dave was a little bit short. And this is delicate. You have a creek to my right. And Dave is going to give it a run, and then and that's what I was talking about. It found the creek just a little bit to Dave's left, and this is Rich for 3. And this is a tester. He's a little bit outside of 20 feet. He's still in the circle for the par. Got it. That was a good putt too. So Dave's going to have to go down in the creek, and he's going to have, you got a lot of bedrock down there. You got some funky stance. So if he finds a good stance, he'll have this. He's about inside of 20 feet. but it's an uphill putt. It's tricky. Not a lot of wind right now. There wasn't a whole lot of winds out there, but he's got this to tie it up and maintain his 2 under par. This is for a 3. I think this is Dave's first time being on camera, so he might have been waiting for me to set up. Both players have a smooth putting motion, and that's in. A great par. And here we are. This is hole 7. This is a tricky hole. You can either opt to throw an ante or you can throw a thumber. I think Rich went with the ante, but again, he's throwing an opto spark, and it just flipped over on him, hit the ground, popped up, and rolled right past me. So he's got a outside the circle look at a birdie too, and that's kind of far away, but he did not go in the creek. And that's not a bad shot. And here comes Dave. Dave's throwing a pink culverin, I believe. And there he is. He lands short, and oh, he was so close. It flipped up on its edge and rolled the opposite direction of the basket. If that goes the other way, it might have turned around and been underneath it. So bad luck for Dave on hole 7. And he's got outside the circle putt for 2. And here's Rich. Rich is coming in for the birdie. Oh, and he just missed it. What you won't see is he did shoot another one, another non-penalty shot, and he canned it for a 2, but that one didn't count. Here's Dave. Dave to take the lead on Rich. And this is a nasty one. You know, if you let it float, there is a little bit of a ridge behind it. So you don't want it. Oh no! And there it goes. He aired it out. Those McPros are squirrely sometimes. They're very glidey. So after an errant shot for birdie, here comes Dave back. This is for par.
That was like his anti-flip disc.
Oh, what a putt.
Nice putt.
Uphill.
Huge putt.
About 28 feet. It was actually a lot further than it looked. There's tricky wind too. And yeah, Dave, take your hat off. Celebrate. That was beautiful. A beautiful putt. Even Rich was like, whoa. So both players, here we are, going into hole number 8 at 2 under par. And Rich again throwing that opto spark. And that's the play. This is it's not a long hole as you think. It is off to the left, but it is definitely reachable. But one of the things you'll notice on the left is you have a pretty big hill / ridge. So if you do go too far to the left, you're going to go all the way down the hill into that creek that runs along hole 6. So Dave, he's going to be throwing that pink culverin again, it looks like. And both players are going to be almost in the same position. Rich is actually a little bit closer, but they both didn't take on that ridge, and they're going to either have to lay up or they're going to have to run it. And that's a pretty good shot by Dave. Dave was just playing smart. Didn't want to take on the hill. You can see the downslope. I'm actually standing on part of the downslope, and it's nasty if you roll away. Rich sees an opportunity here outside the circle, about 40. Oh, and he hits the front of the basket. Probably 3 or 4 inches too low. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. There's a little bit more wind. It's a little bit more of an open shot. But those pars were conceded. And here we are at hole number 9. A little panorama for you. Beautiful scenery. Not a lot of players. I don't think there was one group out there in front of us. But other than that, it was nice. And this is actually a pretty big pull. This is a good pull. So if you get a birdie 2 on this, you're doing something right. Rich is actually going to be using a champion turn. This is a 12-time Climo turn, and he is past the basket about 12 to 15 feet. That was a beautiful shot. It was so straight for a turn. You don't think it's going to go that straight, but it did. And here's Dave. Dave's got his orange outlaw again. Again, that's a go-to disc for Dave. Let's see if he can match Rich's drive. because Rich is going to have a really good look, and Dave, I didn't see where it went, but he went left, and he's short, and he's way outside the circle. This is going to be a tough putt. I want to say he's about 60 feet. It's not an easy putt. He's got an overhanging branch over his head. He does have a look, though. His arm's not going to hit it. But this is a gnarly putt, and this is to try to stay in it with Rich. Oh, are you kidding? From like 60 feet, and he cans it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a putt. Absolutely nails it. And I think at this point, Rich is probably shaking and going, who is this guy? This guy's putting out of his mind. That's 3 big putts within 4 holes that Dave had. And here's Rich. You can see maybe he's about 16, but not a problem. Inside the circle putt. Both